Alright, we'll do a little walk around here. This video, by the way, you can watch in 3D if you've got a Oculus headset. But this is the modified Razer MX650. I bought this stock from a guy on OfferUp here in Houston and tore it down and painted it and replaced a lot of things on it. This has got a 48 volt lithium ion battery instead of the stock 36 volt lead acid, and it's also got a brushless motor there. That's a 2000 watt rated versus 650 watt standard brushed motor, and it has a Kelly BMS, which a speed controller, which is up in there, and you can plug that into your computer and change the settings on it, which is pretty wild. And I've only ridden this a little bit, still have some settings to tweak, I'm sure, but that's the drivetrain. So this has a lot more torque and also higher speed. It has the stock sprockets front and rear. You could change those to get more torque or more speed, but this should be good. And this battery is 25 amp hours, which is more than double the stock capacity, plus with 50 amps times 48 volts, about 2,500 watts is what you can expect to get out of this, which is a huge increase. I put a Pirelli tire on the back, front tires stock, mountain bike DNM off Amazon coil spring with a heavier spring and much better damping than the stock one. I dropped the pegs, so for adult riders it's a lot more comfortable to ride. And the front springs are a couple inches longer than stock. They're a little bit soft now. I may have to experiment with those a little bit. But I welded up this rack for the back so I can carry. Right now I've just got the ESC plug in there, but I can put the charger or maybe a little first aid kit would be a good idea. Some snacks or whatever. And here is the app that monitors the battery, both voltage, current, state of charge. So that'll be interesting to see how that works. Also for voltage, I got this analog voltmeter off of eBay, this old voltmeter. We'll see how it deals with shocks, but it seems to be pretty accurate there compared to the digital voltmeter I put up there, 52.9. That's agreeing with this app and also pretty close to what this analog meter shows. And I've got that on a switch. I've got the main power also on a switch, the stock switch there. I put these little windows in the side of the case, maybe thinking I could get Eon battery sticker behind it, but Raymond, if he sends those to me, I'll put those behind the window for some advertising. And it's got the Zoom hydraulic brakes, which are much more powerful and smoother than the stock cable actuated disc brakes. You need some bigger discs, bigger discs on there. And drilled out the motor for the ends, covers for some extra cooling, longer kickstand, since the seat's probably about 4 inches taller than stock. And over here for reference, you'll see there's my son's first Razer, the MX350, then an MX500, which is pretty much the stock seat height, although that still does have a better shock in the back. Not as long as the one I put on this Yamaha looking MX650. That's got an 1800 watt motor, brushless, with a orange battery pack, Greenway, used one I bought, which is so far great. That thing will pop wheelies and do almost 30. This one with significantly more amperage available. I mean, this right now, depending on how I have it tuned, this thing will pop wheelies and climb hills much better than this one, than the yellow one, just because the battery has more amps available. And painted everything. Yeah, I didn't strip off all the old paint on the frame and the plastics, just roughed it up with Scotch-Brite and then hit it with the camo paint. Put some extra padding on the seat because the stock seats are fairly narrow and hard, and recovered that with some vinyl from Hobby Lobby. And my sister-in-law is making me a a pad matching with the same material, but she just got the COVID, and luckily she's been vaccinated, so she's not that, symptomatic, but don't know that I'll be able to see her in Christmas time, so that'll have to wait. And I'm just using the cheap throttle that came with the kit. The Electrobrap throttle with the 3 speeds that I have on the yellow one is a good throttle too, but this doesn't have the 3 speeds. It only has an eco mode, which I do have a switch down here that I'm going to be able to activate the eco mode, which cuts the amps in halves and makes it a little bit more economical and tame. This is a pretty bright LED. I've welded up this mount for it, and also a tail light, which isn't quite so bright, but it'll definitely help when riding at night. 48 volts. And I put a front fender, an extra front fender. I used one of the mounts that came on the motor. I cut one of them off and used the other one to mount this rear fender, which will keep a lot of mud from getting on the motor and the shock and up here. And what else did I do? I replaced the bearings, replaced the freewheel, just kind of preventative maintenance, lubed up the chain. These hand protectors are fairly wimpy. I don't know if they'll really take much of a beating, but they look kind of cool. And yeah, so I've just ridden it a little bit. Looking forward to riding it more, taking it off-road and riding with my son the trails nearby. So, fun project. I'll take some riding video next. Cheers.